Whiskey fam, it's time to sit down, grab a dram, and listen to the soothing sounds of your boy Whiskey One talk some whiskey with you. And in fact, we have some RD1 Amburana finished bourbon in the house, so stick around. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into this. Full disclosure, this is a free bottle. It was given to me so I could do my honest take on what I think of this and share my thoughts with all of you guys watching. And I felt like, well, even though I did do a quick take on social media, this channel is based on doing deep dives, really getting into it. Because honestly, I feel like that's where our bread and butter's at. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? RD1. Now this one in particular is bottled at 110 proof. It's aged 4 years. And the distillery itself has a very long history. I won't get into a whole history lesson here. I don't know that will be best served with that because there really is so many details, but I'll just at least throw out a couple things. This was started in 1865. 3 gentlemen decided to start the business, get into it, and then they purchased the property where the original distillery was built a year later. And funny story about that is that it started as the Ashland Distillery, and then it became the William Tarr Whiskey Company and changed hands. There was a whole lot of things that happened to this distillery, and not all good, not all bad, but like a lot of distilleries in Lexington, Kentucky that were hit by Prohibition, they had to shut down. A year after that, they were pretty much robbed. They had a couple of security guards and masked men decided to basically take over and steal a lot of barrels from them. Now, during this time, Prohibition, they were not making whiskey. As a matter of fact, they really never reopened until recently. And as a matter of fact, in 2020, that's when this brand decided to revitalize, come back to life. Now, I'm curious more about the RD1, like what is the RD1? So RD is registered distillery, and one, as you might anticipate, that these guys were the original distillery in Lexington, Kentucky. So that's why you see the RD1 on the label. I was always kind of curious at first until I started asking questions to my friends who kind of nerd out a little bit more than I do. Me personally, I just drink whiskey. So now, as far as this is concerned, I feel like I shared the bottle. I got into it with a couple of friends right off the bat. I feel like I had to share it and see what their thoughts were as well. And honestly, we just really all enjoyed it. And it's hard not to enjoy an Amburana finished bourbon or rye. And, not really knowing what I'd get into, I thought, well, at the very least, I probably have something for the winter time, something for the fall season. As it starts to get cooler, I like things that kind of warm me up, keep me cozy. Now let's get into this, shall we? As far as the nose. The first thing you're going to notice is that cinnamon toast crunch. And what's funny about that is so many of my friends always mention that when they talk about an Amburana finished whiskey. That seems to be the thing. But on top of that cinnamon toast crunch, you get loads of like this vanilla, you get toffee. It does have a leathery note that just kind of underlines the whole thing, kind of like a foundation that holds it all together. And one thing that kind of worries me about an Amburana finished whiskey is that you're just going to get overwhelmed by this big cinnamon heat sensation. And the one thing that kind of like took me by surprise is that's not at all what I got. Sure, the aromas are very present. Absolutely. Like you're going to notice the cinnamon thing, right? But when it comes to the taste and the overall presence from that Amburana influence, I felt like it was very balanced then, and it seems to be balanced now, right? So let's get into this, have a little sip. Cheers to all you guys watching. Very dense. It's spicy, but not hot. And that's one thing that, like, I think all you guys are probably curious about. Is this going to give you the Kentucky hug? Yes, it's warming, but it's inviting. Just like the holidays right around this time, right? The fall and the winter months, they're just inviting. You look forward to these all year round. And my initial thought, that initial sip, is that it's inviting. Very warming, and it makes you feel a little cozy. So let's get into this follow-up sip. Certainly layered. The vanillas really feel dense. It feels like a French vanilla ice cream, a lot of custard. It's very creamy. In spite of being, you know, cinnamon forward, you do get a little bit of red hots. Again, that leather note just kind of hangs out. But what I really, really enjoy is that there's these tobacco notes, these cigar or pipe tobacco notes that really start to like develop. With every return sip, that's where the magic really is happening for me. I personally like the smell of tobacco leaf, cigars. That's been kind of my thing lately, is just getting more into cigars, but you certainly get that. Not just the cinnamon, you know, the thing that you are kind of anticipating right off the top. And then, you know, the sweetness is there, not overpowering. You know, you don't need to have a sweet tooth to enjoy this. It's just a nice balance to it. I'm gonna have another sip and then let you know who I feel like this speaks to the most. So cheers again. Interesting. So this, you know, take the Amburana aside. This to me feels like a high rye bourbon. You get your anise, you get a little bit of cloves. You know, again, the tobacco notes start to kind of show up a little bit. But I like that it's a bit sticky. It hangs on to the palate. It gives a very, very long finish. This goes without saying. And typically, any like Amburana finished whiskey, it's just going to have this linger, this little heat to it. It doesn't set your mouth on fire. I feel like the 110 proof was just the right amount. I think if this was barrel proof, man, it might be a little too much. So proof-wise, flavor-wise, complexity, I think all the things are there. And let's be honest, like somebody grabbing this bottle is going to be whiskey curious. And that's why I feel like this speaks to the most.
100%.
If you didn't want something finished, you wouldn't have grabbed this bottle. But if you're curious watching this video, should you grab it? Honestly, this is a no-brainer. I've seen it on the shelves. Only reason I didn't pick it up right off the top was I didn't know enough about it. I didn't know what to expect and if it was just going to be a one-trick pony. Now that I know what I know, my honest take is that you should grab it. This is not like a lot of, you know, high-end bottles that you are now starting to see flood the market, you know, $100+ every time you see it. You know, this is part of their core range, which I really like that. It makes me want to dive a little deeper into the other expressions that they have. But I think at MSRP is about between $70 and $80. That to me is a no-brainer. It gives 2 thumbs up for me for sure. And I just think overall quality, this is exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking for something interesting, not just another bourbon, this is what you grab. And so honestly, even for a free bottle, because I know some of you guys are probably thinking, well, it was free, man. Like, what would you say? Flavor-wise, you got the tasting notes. You know, price-wise, is this a good value? Yes. And who do I speak to? Who I feel like this speaks to the most? Absolutely somebody who's whiskey curious and wants to branch out from the everyday bourbon that you typically find on the shelves. But yeah, I really enjoy it. Great job to those guys that are now bringing RD1 back to life. Certainly I appreciate it. And honestly, check out their website because it looks like they have quite a few expressions available. You can order online. So even if it's not necessarily in your state or you can't find it in the liquor store that you typically find it in, just order direct. Why not? That's what I've been doing lately. So If you guys are new to the channel, thank you for checking us out. Hopefully you stuck around to the end and you consider liking and subscribing. I would love it. And if you want to support the channel even further, consider becoming a Patreon. I'll send the information and the link here in this video. And don't forget, here at Whiskey One, it's about the one you enjoy. Cheers.